Welcome to What's Next Wall Street. I'm Georgia Alfredas.
And I'm Dave Mathews, and it's the first year of 2024. Woo-hoo! Oh my God, Georgia, there's so much stuff going on with lawsuits around copyrights, with AI, a Disney character, first-person shooter, and so much more.
But listen, first, before we get into all that, we want to make sure you know how to get at us. So we post new episodes every single Friday. So check us out wherever you get your podcast, and be sure to subscribe and hit that alert button. That way you are notified as soon as new episodes drop.
And we want to hear about you and your New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
You can email us at wnwshow@gmail.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street, and watch our show at WNW Show on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, Georgia, poor Bernard-Arnault. Did you see what I did there with poor? The billionaire and chairman of LVMH. He had to sell his private jet because he doesn't want everybody and their mama tracking him. So the Twitter accounts like I Fly Bernard and Bernard's Airplane had been tracking Arnault's jet to expose the pollution his private jet causes every time he flies.
Okay.
Now, don't expect to see him at the first class section of Spirit Airlines anytime soon, though. First class at Spirit. Did you see what we did there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, welcome to Spirit Airlines. Would you like a seatbelt? Oh, that'll be $12. Would you like a seat? Oh, that'll be $32. Oh, you're carrying on 2 bags. That's $97,000.
Right?
So he could afford that. He is the second richest man in the world, and he's now renting jets when he flies. Hello, Jet Suite X or Jet X or whatever. Now, the same thing happened with the X, formerly known as Twitter account at Elon Jet, which was one of many plane tracking account bots made by Jack Sweeney, a software engineering student who first found an automated post for this publicly available data to track his dad. How sweet is this?
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, his dad was an American Airlines pilot, and he wanted to find out when he was coming home.
Probably because he was probably having a big old party, and he wanted to know. I used to do that too, try to find out when my dad was going to get home from work.
I was going for sweet. He missed his papa.
Sweet.
And then he was having a party probably too. So when Elon bought Twitter in November of 2022, he said, my commitment. Can I do an Elon? I don't know if I can do Elon.
Let's see, let me hear. You just have to be like an NPC.
I just have to be a robot.
Yeah.
My commitment to free speech extends even to not banning the account following my plane, even though that's a direct personal safety risk.
Dude.
Did I get it?
Yeah, you know what? If there's going to be an Elon Musk movie, you got to play Elon Musk.
Oh, that's cool. I can be the twitchy guy. That's great. He was great on SNL, though, by the way. The next month, Elon, on December 14th, suspended Jack's personal account as well as all the bots he made to repost flight data. And remember, this is publicly available information.
I know, but it's his. Twitter is his. I mean, X is his. True. I don't blame him.
But look, don't say in November you're not going to do it and then do it in December.
Yeah,
that's
but you
whack.
crap on me on my platform. Bye-bye.
That's true. Maybe that's why he spent the 44B. He goes, I will shut this down at any cost. But Georgia, and viewers, information wants to be free.
Yeah.
And not even Elon can escape the internet. I guess he could buy everything on the internet.
Yeah.
But you can track Elon's flights now on Mastodon,
Oh, so you're just going to tell everybody where they can do it? Okay.
Yeah, the joke's on him. The joke's on me. Even Taylor Swift got under some heat for the amount of trips that she took. And she said that wasn't her flying, but I'm lending my jet out to my friends.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah. These days, she makes a lot of trips from Nashville to Kansas City, Missouri,
of course. Yeah.
the state I'm from. Aw, I want to be her Jetsy bestie.
Nice.
So call me Tay-Tay.
Tay-Tay.
That's what she likes me to call her.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's cool. We're cool. She likes Missouri boys now, yo.
Really? I think just one. And is he really from Missouri, or is he just play for the Kansas City? Yeah.
She can get the real deal with me.
All right.
Call me Tay-Tay.
What are we doing here? Is this an investment show or what?
No, it's me trying to get a date with Swiftie.
Hey, it worked for him. It worked for Travis Kelce.
What do you do?
He did on his brother's podcast. He was like, I don't really want to go out with her. I tried to do this and do that. And then like a week later, they were a thing.
All right. So I had a buddy that he's a captain now at a major airline, but he was flying private for some celebs out of the same airport that Tay-Tay, when she was just coming up, was going to. That's what she likes me to call her.
Okay.
And he asked her out a few times. Dude, I have so much respect for him.
I mean.
And he's just like hanging around the FBO, which is what a small airport's called. And then Taylor would be rolling in. He's like, hey, we should go out sometime.
She's probably like weird.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's such a cool dude, though. Yeah. So
probably super
good on
cool,
him.
but not cooler than Travis Kelce, I'm sure.
Probably
sorry.
not. No. Or me. But if you want to track jets from Elon, Bill Gates, my old boss, and even Bezos.
Are you really doing this? Telling people where they can track these people?
Yeah, Jack. You know, Jack is a software developer that wanted to find out when his daddy was coming home. And to your point, he probably was throwing a party. But I'm not gonna go that route. I'm gonna say go to groundcontrol.net without the vowels. So it's grndctrl.net. But you have to use the vowel on that last NET.
Okay.
All right, groundcontrol.net. Okay. Jack, keep up on hacking.
Okay, so do you remember last year? Seems so weird to say because it was just like a few days ago.
It's like an hour ago.
But former Mavericks owner Mark Cuban.
Former.
I know, that seems weird to say too, right?
MFFL. Mavericks fan for life.
Yes, exactly. But Cuban was going through the same thing with him, who was tracking his jets, and that's jets with an S.
Oh yeah, because
real world problems.
757s for the plane, right? Or for the team.
For the team.
Right.
So Cuban reached out to this kid. And he was like, listen, stop tracking me. He was like, this kind of tracking really puts my family's safety at risk. And he told this kid, listen, you'll have a friend for life and maybe a business mentor if you stop. And he stopped tracking Cuban, but he's still tracking some more people. So that's...
But look, all of the tails have transponders. This is even ships. You can track everything. You can actually build a little USB radio that pulls that transponder data out of the air, which is pretty cool. Maybe I'll do a tech tip on that sometime. Leave some comments below if you want me to tell you how to pull this data out of the sky. You don't even need the internet for this.
Yeah, but just because you can track somebody doesn't mean you should. I agree with Cuban. That is a safety risk. Like, I don't want people knowing where I am. You know what I mean?
Look, if you're...
I try to turn my phone off when I'm at the mall so my husband doesn't know, but then he knows if I turn it off, he knows exactly where to find me.
You put a geofence around the mall. It says alert me anytime you get near that geofence. That's different, though. This isn't tracking where you're going in the real world. This is when you're in the sky. Like, maybe like if you're, Sweeney also put all the oligarchs' airplanes in this system too, because
you better be careful.
Well, yeah, that's true. You don't mess with those guys. But he wanted those planes to be repossessed or not repossessed, not in that world, but locked down because of all the, remember all the ships that were getting or held? If you were an oligarch and you had a ship in Italy, you weren't getting that ship out of Italy. They were going
but he must not like his
locking
life.
them down.
If I'm tracking anybody, it's not going to be them. But I get it.
True.
I get it. Yeah.
All right, another real world problem news. Billionaire Mark Zuckerberg, you know him, right?
Sure.
CEO, founder of Meta or Facebook, and now Meta. He's reportedly building a mega compound in Kauai. How do you say that? Kauai. There's no W in there.
I know, but it's Hawaiian. It's Kauai.
Oh, look at you, cultural Hawaiian. You got that olive skin.
Yeah.
All right, sources say he's been buying up land there for a decade and is now building a 1,400 acre compound complete with tree houses and tunnels. And tunnels.
Wait, you got tree houses and all right.
Like, above ground, below ground,
I
right?
guess.
There's even reportedly a 500 square foot underground shelter with a blast resistant door and its own energy and food supplies. The cost of this rumored project,
how much?
Georgia, what do you think?
Like $1 million to $10 million, $20 million. It's Hawaii, $20 million.
No. $270 million.
Well, he's got
Zuck posted a photo of this from his traditional Christmas Chinese meal. Do you get that? Traditional
Christmas Chinese meal.
Yeah, that's a Jewish thing. All my Jewish friends, they eat Chinese on Christmas Day because the Chinese restaurants are the only things that are open.
Okay.
So look at the blast doors on the outside of this from our YouTube channel. Those look like awnings. They look like overheads, but those are actually metal awnings that when it comes down, protect the glass from being attacked. So
what is he worried about? Like, why is he doing this?
Look, when you look at all the old, guys, when they start making tons of money, they start going crazy, right?
You're saying he's going crazy?
No, they start drinking their own urine. I don't know. There's something when you have, that was Howard Hughes, right?
That was what?
Howard Hughes.
That was Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
He really did. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even like Nikolai Tesla. He was like only friends with birds living in a hotel in New York when he was about to die. So I don't know. This must be but he's too young for this. But maybe he's a little worried. Elon was trying to box him. They were trying to have a little fight. So maybe he's worried that Elon's going to show up on the island.
He's not afraid of Elon Musk.
But guess what you can do? You can go to Jack Sweeney's site.
Right, and find out.
You can see. And I'm not saying, but I'm just saying there's a lot of trips that Zuck makes to that Hawaiian island.
Yeah. Well, he's been buying up places. He's been buying up land there forever. So.
All
right. Somebody's been watching too many zombie apocalypse shows, I think, for him. So, in other news, Google has reportedly agreed to sell a $5 billion consumer privacy lawsuit.
This upsets me so much.
The suit accused the tech giant of secretly tracking millions of people who thought They were browsing the internet privately. You taught us, so you taught me how to do that.
Yeah.
Now, this suit argued that Google's analytics, cookies, and apps track their activity even when they set their Chrome browser to incognito. Oh, that's just for me. Sorry.
That is,
Incognito.
Whoa,
My
Georgia.
bad. That's just me.
Whoa.
There's a little button. I do my incognito so Steve can't find out where I am.
Georgia's like 70, how much, 17 or 70%?
Okay, anyway, incognito mode and other browsers to private. So browsing status should be private, but it's not. Plaintiffs claim that they gave Google an unaccountable trove of information. It's no claiming. It really did. They learned about their friends, their shopping habits, potentially embarrassing things they sought out online. So terms of settlement weren't announced, but lawyers expect to present a formal settlement offer to federal courts in February.
All right, everybody. Do you know what upsets me and what sucks about this?
What?
Because they settled the case, we're not going to hear in court what they actually did that they knew was wrong. Now, I knew this had to be happening. You know why?
Why?
Because when you have a tagline in your business, it says, "Don't be evil." Do you remember that?
No.
Google, when they started their company, only when they changed their name to Alphabet did they change this tagline. And Alphabet's only like, what? Teleprompter guy, like 4 or 5 years ago, they changed Alphabet. They did the new stock tracking, whatever. When your tagline is "Don't be evil," that's just a smoke screen that we're being evil.
Being evil?
Yeah, we're being evil. But you know what? We're smarter than everybody else. We went to Stanford. We're gonna write "Don't be evil" right under the name Google, and no one's gonna know the shit we're doing behind the scenes. It's evil.
Wow.
So I knew this had to be happening. It's just too easy to see which IP address you use to connect to, say, Google search in standard browser mode, or the Gmail app always knows your IP address because when you log on from another account, it sends you an email that says, "Hey, was this you, right?"
This you?
And look, they've been buying up all these ad companies for years, decades. So their whole business is to sell you ads. So they have to know your IP address. They have to know things about you. So of course, if you own a search engine and you're telling people like, "Oh, we've got incognito mode," that's not going to work. It's way better to use another search engine or browser like DuckDuckGo, which Mark Cuban invested in, or StartPage. So, our favorite Texas billionaire, Mark, worth like an additional $3.5 billion because it's selling the Mavs, but only what? He kept 15% of it?
Yeah.
Nice.
So if Mark Cuban says DuckDuckGo, then that's my new search engine.
That's it.
DuckDuckGo.
Give it a shot.
Okay, I'm in. At the start of the new year, every small business owner is asking themselves the same question. What's the one thing I can do to level up in 2024? LinkedIn Jobs knows that your success all depends on the team you surround yourself with. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has created the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are busy wearing so many hats. Anybody got time or resources to interview every Tom, Dick, and Harry? That's why it's much easier, smarter, and less time consuming to get LinkedIn and let them do the heavy lifting.
The most important thing you can do for your business is build a great team, and the right hiring tools are critical. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals like me, which makes it the best place to hire me. Hiring is easy when you have that many candidates that are quality.
Yes.
So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours.
Wow.
It's no wonder small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors.
So post your job for free at linkedin.com/WNWS. That's linkedin.com/WNWS to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Today's pro tip is brought to you by OptionsPlayers.com. This trading tip is a simple one. Patience, grasshopper. Trading and the thought of winning trades is exciting. As exciting as, say, walking into a casino on the Las Vegas Strip. That said, your experience in trading may be too much like your last trip to the casino because you may not approach the game correctly. Patience is the very first goal at Options Players that they want you to strive for when they onboard new traders at Options Players. So if they can show traders high probability entries into plays instead of just willy-nilly gambling, they see much more enjoyable success. To keep things in perspective, OptionsPlayers.com alerted only 61 alert plays in all of 2023. That's over a 246 session year. OP happened to win 55 of those 61 entries for an astounding win rate of over 90%. That wasn't done by being impatient or with FOMO. So patience pays. literally. For more detailed trading info, like how to become a more informed trader with a tailored trade plan so you can stack some gains in 2024, check out OptionsPlayers.com, where you can not only learn the fundamentals and beyond, but become a part of a trading community.
Hey, Jordy, you talked about going to Vegas. I went to, where was I? Palm Springs, and saw Adam Carolla. Remember him? The host of Love Lines, the comedian?
No.
Adam Carolla.
I don't remember him. I'm sorry.
Love Lines with Dr. Drew.
I don't remember Love Lines. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's a white person thing, I guess.
I guess.
So now the slot machines, it used to be easy. There'd be like 3 wheels, maybe 4 wheels. Maybe there'd be 1 pay line or 3 pay lines, or they do the crisscross pay lines. The new slot machines, finally, teleprompter guy would love this. They have screens that are curved and waving. These things look insane. They're spending so much money to lure you in.
Really?
And the penny machines, when you can bet on those, some of the bets are like 200 pennies at a time. So I put in a $20 bill. I was trying to show off.
Watch me, girl. Let me get this cash. Watch this.
Let's see this. And, she never played a slot machine before. So I was like,
some money, girl. Yeah. Take some cash
and
from daddy.
The joke was on me because slots are like the fastest way to lose money. But I watched this guy, he was playing like and all the games are branded now. You're playing like Gotham, or you're playing some like, Little Shop of Horrors, all these funny games. Remember that? Like, why does Rick Moranis have a Little Shop of Horrors slot machine? Like, this doesn't make sense, but they're all beautiful, great graphics. And this guy, he's playing an NFL game, an NFL slot machine game. It's so weird. And he like put in 20 and he was up to like $70. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And there's no skill. It's not like he's playing like
you're
Madden.
just like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, you're not playing Madden with your joystick. You're just hitting buttons on a screen. So we went to the Little Shop of Horrors game. And Georgia, that $20 was gone in like 15 seconds.
That's why I can't do it.
It wasn't even like,
I can't gamble.
There wasn't even time for the girl to come by and take a drink order. Like,
no massages, nothing. You couldn't get anything.
You get, wait, what casino does massages?
Yeah, they come by and they're like, little massage.
Oh, they don't do that to me. That must be your thing.
All right. It's not mine, it's my husband. He can
All right, viewer email. Hey, this is the part of the show where we get to hear from you. Yeah. You can hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street. Comment on our YouTube page at WNW Show. It's a new YouTube channel, so we're
learning. Listen,
we're learning.
It's a learning
Or
curve.
You can email us. We got the Gmails.
Yes.
You can email WNWSHOW@gmail.com.
That's it. All right, so this email is from Matt Sheedy, who writes, I keep hearing a lot about the Dogs of Dow strategy. Is that something that you trade? You know what? I've been seeing this a lot too lately. So I want to refer to Greg Krause, lead instructor at OptionsPlayers.com. Firstly, Greg, can you explain what the Dogs of the Dow is? Sounds like a TV show.
Arroo.
The Dogs of the Dow. First, I'm going to try to make this very quick. I don't like it. I think it's outdated. And I don't think it's ever really been a great strategy. First off, the last 5 years, and 4 of those years it underperformed the Dow. All 5 it underperformed the S&P 500 or NASDAQ. Next year it's going to host things like Cisco, Johnson & Johnson, Chevron, IBM, 3M, Verizon, Walgreens, companies like that. They're stable companies. They're not growth companies. They're not going to make you 30% unless the previous year they went down 30%, or maybe 20% because, inflation. But and then it goes up to 10 next year. But there are other variants like the small dogs, which I don't suggest. Doberman, which kind of follows a different route. There's some that follow the cash flow rather than just the dividend, because the Dogs of the Dow is just the highest dividends of the whatever 10 companies have the highest dividends, which isn't a real practical how well the company's doing. And it might not be the best thing for you. For example, if you don't pay state income tax, but you pay taxes on dividends, then that could be an issue. Companies like Apple have already went into this by doing purchase buybacks, which inflates the price of the stock. So instead of giving you the cash, they just buy shares, which increases the stock on the open market. So you can hold this stock for longer than a year and pay long-term investment tax rather than paying capital gains tax or short-term tax on your dividends. So that is why in 2021, when they tried to, I think it was 2021, they had it was one of those years they tried to stop this, and they actually tried to implement a lot of things. With all they got was a 1% tax to the company, Well, that's much cheaper. For example, for long-term tax for me, which would be the max amount, would be 22.5 versus the 40% tax I might pay. That's not my effective tax, but that's what it would come down to before I started adding things in. That's a huge difference. So just know that it's outdated. There's much more things you should be doing with your money. I would highly just put it in S&P 500 and walk away, and you'll do better than the dogs of the Dow, most likely. All right, you should.
Next up, we've got Nicole from Firestone, Colorado, where they make tires, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
She writes, love the podcast. Thanks. Love you, Nicole. She says, not I am, she says.
Okay.
I'm a newbie to your site. Do you want me to do it in Nicole's voice?
Yeah, do Nicole's voice. Remember, she's from Colorado, so that would be no accent at all.
Oh, that's true.
That would be no accent.
She could
So
have
you
a little weed scruff in her voice.
Maybe, let's see.
Do
Weed.
you think she gets high? I don't know.
I mean, she lives in
seems like
Colorado. I don't know.
They were the first to get
You know
weed.
what?
They were also the first for psilocybin use or legal.
You want to read the email?
Yeah, I'll do that. That's good. That's a better idea than me just babbling here. Sorry, Nicole. Hey, I'm a newbie to your site and investing. Can you explain the difference between puts and calls? Puts, Nicole, means you hope the stock goes down, meaning you're saying it's going to be lower and you buy in at that lower as part of options trading. And calls means you hope the stock goes up. That's the meat of it, but Greg is going to dig into a more detailed answer. Greg, can you help Nicole get out of the snow there?
All right. So puts or calls, stocks going up, I buy calls. Stocks going down, I buy puts. Yes and no. I couldn't make it that easy. For the most of the retail investors, that is correct. If you think the stock is going to go up and you buy calls, there's a good chance you make money. If you think it's going to go down and it goes down and you had puts, you might make money. But you could buy calls or puts because you thought the volatility was going to increase. And then it doesn't even matter if the price could stay flat and you can make money. There's so many different ways to make money or lose money in options. So you kind of need to understand that. All right. So just know you could have spreads going on and reasons to call it, or you could just be purchasing it because you think it might go way up, but you don't want to put a lot of money into it. There's so many different things, but you need to understand you pay a premium for options. So for example, if a stock is at 100 and I buy some 102 calls, those are a little bit out of the money, I'm going to maybe pay $3 for it. Not $2, but maybe $3. So now it's got to get above 105 for me to make any money. You kind of understand that? So what I suggest is you hop on over to OptionPlayers.com. Good plug. Go find the Discovering Options class. I made it a pretty long time ago, actually. But guess what? Nothing's changed. There's about 16 3 to 5 minute little segments on what are calls, what are their break evens, when you should use them, things like that, when to short them, when to use puts, what are all the Greeks, theta, all that stuff is in there in about 16 really quick things. And you can watch one as you continue on. So hop on over to optionplayers.com, go find Discovering Options and get that. It'll be a very good groundwork or framework for you to actually start doing more research and learning about options. But if you don't know the basics, options are going to eat you alive. All right. So you need to really know that. There's a lot of risk in options.
All right. Thanks, Greg and Nicole. You can email Greg directly. And of course, you can hit us up at WNWshow@gmail.com or post your questions and comments on social media at What's Next Wall Street and on our YouTube page right below if you're watching. Hey, Georgia, next week I head to CS and AI will be embedded in everything from laptops to doorbell cameras. So I'll start out with some AI software stories today. By the way, I'm predicting an AI doorbell that, now it's like.
We already have AI doorbell, don't we? I mean, you ring and it lets somebody know.
No, it just tells you that someone's at the door, like a dog or a package or what. But I think the next doorbells are going to say maybe it'll read the barcode on the UPS box and tell you what actually arrived, or it'll see the face and say, your mom's over. So how cool would it be, instead of getting the generic alert to view the camera, that it just pops up on your screen, Steve's home or your son's home or whatever.
I like that.
So that's what I'm predicting we're going to see next week. But I'll be there. And then not the Friday you're watching now or the weekend now, but the next Friday, you're going to see video from the show floor. So
Sweet.
tune in.
I want to see.
So making changes to images is, in my never so humble opinion. Do you know that, Georgia? I'm not humble. I think that's the best time reduction use case of artificial intelligence today. Now, the established companies like Adobe are doing very cool things like making changes to images to add or subtract clothing from models. Hey, changing backgrounds and such. But the gaming industry is going to bring a lot of cool engagements using AI as well. In the past, you've had to use motion capture of human models, and it was key to lifelike games. Have you seen this where they put the white ping pong balls all over?
And then
everything?
you move and
Motion tracking, right? So that's all going to go away with AI. And I've seen artists on Instagram make changes to video, like they find videos on the internet and they change them to incredibly accurate, amazing models.
Wow.
And we'll have one of those curators on as a guest in the future.
That's cool.
But these days, a year after ChatGPT made its debut with a large language model, I'm going to cover why relying on them may be a problem and talk about copyright. Now, I was in the room with Sam Altman, CEO then, and then not, and then CEO again of OpenAI, the night before the board voted him off the island.
Ooh.
He left our panel session with the artist Android Jones because he had to make a call. I'm assuming that call was bad because he was asked not to show up to work the next day.
Oh.
So, but this whole fire and rehire is exactly what you, as a potential user or customer of OpenAI, needs to worry about with your AI implementations. Now, think about it, Georgia, and viewers and listeners. If you rely on a company like OpenAI, which is a startup that's extremely well-funded, but naive in both their corporate culture, think about it, who fires their CEO? The board, like what? As well as their APIs or their programming interfaces, so naive there as well. Users are building, or developers are building applications on top of these APIs, and then the APIs go away, then you can get burned. Now, over the Christmas break, the New York Times sued OpenAI and Microsoft, their largest investor, for copyright infringement. That's because OpenAI was found to have been scraping millions of New York Times stories to build their large language models, or LLMs, as the tech bros say.
But if they weren't, where else are they supposed to get it? Like, where should they be getting their stories?
So that's the thing. Like, when you think about Google, remember lawsuits with Yelp? Google was scraping Yelp data and then building Google's own version of this. And then Amazon with products, they see the most popular products and then they go make their own, right?
Yeah.
So this is a proven, steal until you get spanked.
Yeah.
I guess. Don't beg for or ask for forgiveness. Don't beg for permission.
Yeah.
Right. So, but the LLM, the large language model, it's nothing more than a dictionary of which words are typically found after which other words. That's why I know AI is not going to kill us, Georgia. It's what makes AI seem to know what to say, but really it's just making stuff up, as we learned about with some of the fake legal cases that Michael Cohen says he unwittingly sent to his attorney. I can't make this up. Did you see this?
Crazy.
This NPR story is insane. So this copyright infringement deal is a big one because the OpenAI language data set may need to be dismantled and reprogrammed based upon the outcome of this or other lawsuits. Like, think about it. They have these billions of words in this model that they might have to delete. Now, that doesn't mean OpenAI needs to fold or file for bankruptcy. Oh no. In March, when they launched to the general public with ChatGPT, it was the most used technology ever, the fastest growth. But do you remember this? In May 2023, it quickly fell as a barely used service, but used and loved by a few.
I love it.
Right? But when you read it, like, you can see now, like, you were mad at me. In December, I wrote an opener to one of my segments with ChatGPT. And I said, George, I don't want to lie to you. We have a great relationship. We've been friends since what, 97,
So
98?
long, yes.
And I said, George, I didn't write that. And you straight up hit me.
I
Do you
was like,
remember
what
that?
the heck, dude? This is our livelihood. What are you doing?
Yeah. But it was soulless and it was just a brief statement. But the longer stuff, like I've had it write Taylor Swift songs for me about how much she loves me. And it's funny. It's really funny. I did that as a South
That
by
is funny.
Oh, I see what you did there. So it can mimic very well, but it doesn't have soul. It doesn't have a story arc. It doesn't
You know
have
what it's like?
romance.
It's like a thesaurus. That's all it does is come back in and read. It's like a giant thesaurus for every single word. That's how
I always
see it.
say, Google was a tool. Wikipedia got rid of dictionaries, and a tool like AI is a shovel. Somebody still has to know how to operate that shovel.
That's true.
And by the way, if you're an AI analyst or if you're an AI psychologist, those people are getting paid tons of money now. So if you're
Ooh.
still in school, go into AI, but you have to know how to be a prompt engineer. You have to know how to poke it.
Okay.
So here's something that's interesting. In January, right as we film this episode of 2024, they have a new user agreement, a new policy. And in the fine print of this user agreement, it says everything that you type into ChatGPT can be used for training.
Of course.
So this backs up what was said by Sam at an event around TED AI, which was a version of TED focusing on AI in San Francisco last October. He said on stage that ChatGPT was used to collect training data. Now, if you read their privacy policy from March 2022, nothing is mentioned about you giving them the training data. But if you read the upcoming privacy policy they've already posted as we record the show, you'll see that they own your data. Now, this is why so many huge companies like Sony were freaking out when their employees started pasting documents and even source code. Can you imagine? PlayStation source code getting posted into OpenAI. And that's why I always say, remember, kids, if the service you're using is free, that means you are their customer. Think about this with Facebook, which shows you ads, and Instagram, which Meta, Facebook parent company, owns. At least ChatGPT allows you to opt out of data collection through a helpful article.
So they say.
Yeah, and that article was written 1 week before you saw this episode. Now, the link for that is in our YouTube description over at WNW Show on YouTube. But just a note, they are between privacy policies right now as the day we record this. And they give a couple different URLs. One's to a Google form that seems to be depreciated. And the other is an article that points you back to your OpenAI account settings. So it's kind of like, they're pointing their fingers at each other, trying to figure this out. But they stayed under the privacy policy. If you do not want us to use your content to train our models, you can opt out by following the instructions in this Help Center article.
Okay. Whatever you say, Dave.
The world is still ripe for humans, but not without them sucking all of our knowledge.
That's hopeful. '24 bucket list. This. When you go to Paris, there are a few places you got to visit. You got to visit the Louvre. You got to go to the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe. You like that? The Louis Vuitton store. Yeah, I said it.
Oui, oui.
And I'm not ashamed. It's older than the Eiffel Tower, the Louis Vuitton store is.
What?
And the most iconic fashion symbol in France.
Pourquoi?
Okay, maybe Chanel's number one, but
oui,
Louis Vuitton
Chanel.
is number two. Jeez, the Louis Vuitton is number two.
Merci buckets.
Back to my point.
Did I say that right?
I don't know.
Merci buckets.
Merci bouquet.
Oh,
Merci beaucoup.
Right.
Okay, anyway, visiting the Louis Vuitton store in Paris, where the fashion house first began, it has to be on your bucket list because even if you're not into fashion, it's honestly French history. And now the French store is going to have a new look, which won't be revealed until October, which honestly is probably how long it's going to take for me to save enough money to not only go to Paris, but to purchase something, buy something super fly from the famous fashion house. By the way, what they've done on the outside.
Wait, is this going to be like, remember every year there's a new Pantone color that everybody's crazy about?
Dude, no, how dare you? How dare you? What they've done on the outside is so cool. The entire block is going to be covered with what looks like a giant metal Louis Vuitton trunk because that's what they're famous for. And sources,
I thought it was leather with metal corners.
It is, but it's the trunk. Like the first Louis Vuitton back in 1880 or 1860 started making trunks because he worked across from like the train station and that's what people traveled with. So their stuff would break.
Oui, oui.
They couldn't take cool stuff. So that's why he started making trunks and became fashion.
Perfecto.
Anyway, fashion destination much. They say that it's probably going to be a hotel store. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this isn't happening until October, but I want to know from my financial advisor, who reminds me every time I call him my financial advisor that he's absolutely not my financial advisor. I want to know, Greg, because LVMH stock is high for me at 158, but it's still down slightly for LVMH right now. So is this a good time to get in?
Get in the trunk.
Oh, yeah. Georgia likes this company, I know, and that's going to come back. Do I care if the stock goes up or down? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I will say it's a luxury product, right? These are all luxury designers, perfume, everything, we all know clothes, purses, watches, everything you can think of is in this company. But let's understand the economic if the economy is doing good, Economic 101 says luxury companies see the more revenue coming into them. And then when economies go down, a luxury good is what it would be called, seems to go down. The demand for it does. Versus a Griffin good or what we consider like a thrift store or something like that, secondhand might go up. You kind of saw this like wave a little bit. Like remember in the beginning of the pandemic, 2020 and 2021, used cars went crazy. Now, that was because new cars weren't being made because of a bunch of issues. But that's a good example. Like if economy is doing bad, used cars prices might go up a little bit when they might give more incentives to buy the newer ones, right? Because nobody's doing it. So that's kind of where we're looking at. So you need to understand the economics. And why I say that is this. I want you to invest in companies you like. If you just go invest in, like S&P 500, SPY, or whatever, all these indexes, that's fine. But if you're going to start picking companies, you need to pick ones that you like, you're interested in, so you could do the research, so you pay attention. If I tell you to go do research on Johnson & Johnson, you're going to fall asleep by by like minute 10 when you start reading about whatever they're putting in some baby powder or something, right? But then if I tell you to go do research about this company and you really like, say luxury handbags, this is going to be something you enjoy researching. So now I got you just researching. Now I'm going to get you to look in the financials of it and how it works, the managers, the people in it. So now you'll understand that. You'll understand what happened in the past. So when people start getting hired in things, you might have some type of leading indicator on how that company is going to do. And you can just hold the stock. You got the stock, you like it. And then you can use options by buying puts, selling calls, so on and so on around that to manage that position. So if you think it's going to maybe have a bad quarter, you can collar it or buy some type of protective play to, not lose any of your money or vice versa. So I can't tell you where it's going to go, but I know Georgia's going to buy some of it, maybe not the stock, but some of the products.
Georgia, that hotel is going to be your version of Disneyland.
Yes.
Hey, speaking of Disney, as of January 1st, 2024, the copyright protection of the original Disney characters like Steamboat Willie, a.k.a. Mickey Mouse, and a bunch of their other characters that Walt Disney himself persuaded Congress to not only once, but twice, maybe 3 times even, to extend the copyright laws to 95 years. Do you guys know what happened?
Yeah.
It expired.
It's been 95 years.
Yeah, it expired. Steamboat Willie, 95.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, they have been updating him as Mickey to get things like pupils. Those came in 1939. And three-dimensionality, that came in 2004.
Wow. But when you look back at the old Mickey, he's kind of scary looking.
Yeah, he is.
He's scary.
Yeah. Plus, he's had his, he has a trademark.
Yeah.
And those last forever as long as you're using them in commerce.
Yeah.
But with Steamboat Willie, let's call that version 1.0 Mickey, which looked more like a rat, like you were saying, is scary.
It's scary.
With his nose and tail. He doesn't really look like a mouse.
No.
He's like a weird rat. He hasn't been used in commerce forever. So get ready to see AI versions of all your favorite Disney characters getting high, or maybe
Lord,
Pooh Bear napalming a village.
No, please no.
So I was working with Midjourney on creating some of these. They're all terrible. I was having Mickey do terrible things with Minnie.
They're already all over social media. I was looking at it. I was like, oh, Lord Jesus.
Oh, so real artists were
They're
doing
already
this,
killing it.
Not just this nerd.
Yeah.
So my favorite thing is a 1920s version of Doom. Doom was the original first-person shooter, which originated from the guys in Texas. And Doom was like you walked around with a gun blowing things up, and it came from John Carmack here in the Unreal Engine.
Wow.
So this new version is a throwback. First-person shooter where Steamboat Willie uses period-correct weapons. He's got like a Gatling gun and revolvers and stuff to shoot bad guy mice, and even drop pianos on their heads. It's so funny. The team from Fumi Games created Mouse, which is, and by the way, Mouse is, generic. So
yeah,
it's
because
no
you can say, that's right.
Yep.
Got to call it Mouse.
It's available to wish list right now on Stream. Its release date is to be announced, but we uploaded a trailer of the game, and you can see it on our YouTube channel at WNW Show. So take a look at this. It's so funny.
Yeah, speaking of Disney, Dave, their reign is over, at least at the box office, just since you're talking about Disney. Universal is the new king at the global box office. Disney's reigned supreme since 2016. But thanks to films like Oppenheimer, I know you saw Oppenheimer.
I watched it once, and Richard Feynman is one of my favorite humans on earth. Like his similarities to me growing up blows my mind. And I'm so thankful I got to read his book because it blows my mind. He's like constantly tinkering. He was one of the understudies. And in the movie Oppenheimer, he's sitting on a truck playing bongos. They turned him into a total clown, which he kind of was a clown. Yeah. But as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, I need Cliff Notes. I need Oppenheimer for Dummies. I want to watch it again.
Yeah, you gotta watch. That's a movie you gotta watch like 2-3 times. And I gotta look at Google, is this true? Is that true? That's
true.
I liked it. And the Super Mario Brothers movie, thanks to movies like that, Universal's on top. They released over 24 movies last year, brought in $4.91 billion at the global box office. So that, of course, edged out the $4.83 billion earned by Disney Films. Warner Brothers, which released the year's top grossing film. What was it? Barbie? Did you see Barbie?
Barbie was hilarious.
I never saw it.
Look, I saw it's on airplanes now.
Okay.
I freaking love Barbie. Why did no one tell me that Will Ferrell is in Barbie?
What the flip? Oh, I'm going to watch it now. I just have all boys. I live in such a male-dominated house that I couldn't get anybody to go see Barbie.
Even like, who's the guy from Arrested Development? Michael...
I don't know.
Yeah, the Arrested Development kid, he's so dopey in the movie. He's like, oh, that's Alan. So there's a couple characters that made their way.
I didn't know Will Ferrell was in it. They kept that a secret, and I don't like it.
I don't know how.
Now I'm going to watch Barbie.
How did
But it's still not streaming yet. It's still not streaming. So,
yeah, it's streaming. It's on. It's on a couple.
It must be on something we don't have.
IMDb.
It must be something we don't have.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, Barbie, of course, took the number 3. They helped them take the number 3 spot for worldwide ticket sales. Best movie you saw this year or 2023? What was your favorite movie? Can't say Oppenheimer because we already said Oppenheimer.
No, Oppenheimer was the worst because I didn't understand it. I just thought Barbie was hilarious. And
I didn't see that one.
I wish I would have seen it in the theater. Like, remember when everybody was getting dressed up to go see Barbie? And I'm like, oh, I'm too manly for that. I've got a garage.
I know you had pink on.
I got a garage. I put stuff on lifts and I got grease I literally have grease under my fingernails right now.
That's I
was working on a car. I'm getting a car show season's coming up, Georgia.
Okay, well, I didn't see Barbie, but I always watch cartoons and like comedies. My favorite movie, Mario Brothers, is hilarious because Jack Black is a fool. It's really funny.
I haven't seen that
Garrett,
one.
what was your favorite movie of the year? I'm asking my producer. What was your favorite movie?
He's on the spot.
He's like Oppenheimer.
He likes Oppenheimer.
Teleprompter guy. What was your favorite movie?
Boy genius in the
What's
room.
your favorite movie? Teleprompter guy. Scream it. Oh
he loves Scream. That's funny.
All right, listen, remember, if you got questions, we can try to help you answer them. And we would love to hear from you. Email us at wnwshow@gmail.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street.
You can watch episodes of this at WNW Show on YouTube or just type into the search box WNWSHOW.
Yes.
That's pretty easy, right? What's Next Wall Street Show.
Yeah.
Or, if you type in What's Next Wall Street, it shows all the other Wall Street shows.
I know, it's really unfair.
So that's why we had to do this. WNW Show, because the cool kids drop the vowels, yo.
Yeah.
And remember, you can watch or listen on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit the alert button so that you get current trending info on stock trading, AI, and internet security as soon as it drops. I'm George Alfredas.
And I'm Dave Mathews. We'll see you next time on What's Next Wall Street.
This is a long show. I wasn't expecting us to talk so much.